Hey guys, Eric Coffie here, scorecontracts.com. And I've got one of our YouTube subscribers and also Govcon Giant member. He actually called me today or reached out to me to talk about a question. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to get him on the line and actually answer that question and tape it. That way I can share this information because I'm sure that a lot of you out there are going to have the same type of question. So let's go ahead and give him a call. Hey, Noel.
Yes, sir.
Hey, how are you today?
Good.
All right, fantastic. So you sent me a message to reach out to call you. I know you had a couple questions about a contract that you were working on or an offer you're putting together.
Yes.
Without sharing any of the details, you were asking about how to do the pricing for it.
Yes, I'm trying to figure out how to price it so that we don't bid too high or too low.
So let's just talk. Is this a service contract or is it a product that you're providing?
This is a product.
Okay, so it's a product of the job. How much is the approximate total when you add it all up and you add up all the quantities? How much is it the range of the job? I'm going to take some notes.
At the moment, I've done the math without including transportation on the total price. It's about $100,000.
Okay, $100,000. I had the privilege of speaking with you just a little bit ago. So you said there's transportation involved. So that means it's being shipped somewhere?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, two places.
Two places. I know. I heard you said it's in Africa, right? It's going up someplace in Africa.
That's the final destination.
Okay.
From Miami to Boston and then Boston to Africa. Yeah.
Is that the only way to ship it? Is via Miami, Boston, then Boston, Africa, or is that? I mean, it just sounds like you're going a long route to get to Africa.
Yeah, we talked about the same thing.
Is the government asking you to do that, or is that what you are doing? Is that just the way you guys want it?
That's the way they want it.
Okay.
That's the way.
All right, gotcha.
Order is
Well,
written.
all right, no problem. Well, that's fine. So they want
go for it to go to Africa directly, but they want it this way. So.
all right, no problem. So you said that doesn't include transportation. So how much is it with transportation? Do you know, or you haven't figured out that yet?
Transportation. I did some math. We are looking at pretty much 150,000. Add 50,000 more to this. So we did yeah.
Okay,
so
but
it's going to come roughly 150,000 total.
Total for the whole contract, or just for the transportation part?
Transportation around 50,000.
Okay, so the transportation is about another 50. The government's going to pick up the transportation, correct?
Mm-hmm, yeah. They're paying for transportation.
All right, so then that we can't factor that number into your actual estimate. So we're going to look at now. Do they want that to include in your bid or not?
Transportation price?
Yeah. Or is that a separate line item?
Yeah.
Is it a separate line item?
Yes. No, they want it included in the bid.
They want you to be responsible for it. It's not two line items. Like, when you bid it, it has a CLIN, C-L-I-N. Is there a separate CLIN or is it just one CLIN on your project?
That terminology is above my grade.
All right. Okay. No problem. That's okay. That's all right. No, don't worry about it. Listen, you'll get used to this stuff after you keep bidding these jobs. That's why I want to share this information, because a lot of people out there are unfamiliar with that. If you guys have ever looked up a proposal, the way that the government standard forms is essentially they will give you a couple pages in after they tell you, your name, the government name, the point of contact. When you're actually filling out and where you sign the offer, it'll tell you when you put the final price, it'll have what's called CLIN number, C-L-I-N. And in that CLIN number, they will break down how they want you to price the job. And that's what I'm saying. So even though they may want you to include transportation in your cost, it may be a separate line item, CLIN, where you may price it, so you may put $100,000 for the whole project and then $50,000 for transportation. That way they can take that number out and pay for it separately from the actual cost of the job. Because that's probably going to be the first thing that they pick up the tab on is the actual transportation. Mm-hmm. So when you look at the proposal, go back and look at that.
I'm actually looking at it right now.
Okay.
The way it reads, it looks like it fits the description that you guys gave. It looks like it's going to be divided into
right.
separate.
That's
and
right.
Then the actual cost of the materials.
Okay.
Separate.
Good. So the reason why that's important is because they may not let you mark up transportation because it's a separate line item and they're going to pay directly. So you're only going to get the markup on the actual material itself. Yeah. So that's why I asked that question.
That's why we talked about it too. That we thought that I don't think we will have any chance of putting any markup on the transportation
Right,
price.
because they're going to, right. Yeah, because if they pay it directly, then, I mean, that doesn't benefit you. But all right, so listen, we don't want to make this a long video. Actually, I want this to be a short video. So now, so what are my ideas? Originally, what I would say is this. The first suggestion I have for everyone is if you can, try to research and find a proposal or project of similar nature, and then try to pull that contract up and then work backwards to find out your numbers. Right? Have you tried that?
I did look on FedBase app. Nothing comes up there. And,
okay. Have you tried looking at FPDs? Yeah.
Yeah, FPDs I did, but nothing similar at all.
All right, so
a lot of this company's name on here, but
you know what happens when you
even the agency.
Okay, so
all different agencies on here.
Well, this is what happens. A lot of times on FPDs, the information is not organized in an easy fashion for you to read it. That's the only challenge that I tell people with FPDs. It's a great resource, but a lot of times the information is not organized in a fashion where it's actually easy to digest or read. So that they may have done a similar project, but it may be in an umbrella with a bunch of other jobs. You get me? So it may not explicitly state your item. It may be a bigger project. That's, let's say they awarded a $500,000 job, which included your materials. So that does make it difficult to find. So if you can't find anything similar in nature on FPDs or USA Spending, then the next thing I would do was I would personally, since it's a product, I would ask the supplier, what is the typical markup for resellers? I know.
Actually, I did.
You did?
I called them.
Okay, good. And what was his response?
They say that, by the way, we will never sell it to you for you to sell it to someone else. So they will only sell it directly to the end user. But in the context of this quotation,
right.
quote, they say that if we are coming in to buy for the government, then they will allow us, but they will never sell it to us, and then we will sell it to the government.
Okay, fair enough. When we were talking earlier, I said to you, I said, hey, first, I said, depending on the size of the job, to tell you to price it. And I don't give advice we call experience sharing. So I can only tell you what to do if it was me. You're going to do what you believe is best. Now, for me personally, when you're looking at pricing the job, it's risk reward, right? So what chances are you taking in terms of like maybe something going wrong, maybe something happening? And I believe personally, for the amount of risk that you're taking to get something to go from Miami to Boston, Africa, I would say 40%. Now, originally, I would say, hey, look, I tell you what, you want to get the job, you want to meet the people, 15%. But because the contract is so low, it's only $100,000 job. I mean, that I don't care if it was Miami to Boston for $100,000. I would mark it up higher just because it's such a small job, and it's still risk inherent in that. So a lot of times they think, well, I want to bid low to get the job, but the problem is, if you've got $50,000 in transportation and you bid the job at 15%, right? So that's 100. So it's 15,000. You could make a mistake in the transportation along, and that will eat your lunch. That'll eat your whole profit. So it's not, to me, in my opinion, it's not worth taking the risk for 15,000 when you've got $50,000 in transportation costs. I would say if it was me, I'd bid it at 40% markup. That's what I would bid. Just because it's got to go to Africa, I would bid 40% on that job. Just because it's got to go such a long distance, and there's so many unknowns and other factors that come into play, especially when you're now entrusting other people to get it delivered. And then what if they arrive and something's wrong? Then you have to then have them sent again, or not all of them. Let's say actually, a few of them are wrong.
The way the quote is written, it's written so that once it's shipped first to Boston,
okay,
they inspect all the materials there to make sure that everything is okay before shipping to Africa. So
that's good. That's good. Okay.
So in this scenario, it looks like before shipping to Africa, they will make sure that because that.
You know why? That's happened before. That's already happened. That's why they're doing that, because they've already had that experience where it went to Africa and it was wrong. So that's probably why they're doing that. You get me? So now we know. Now we figured out why they're shipping it to Boston, because they're going to inspect it in Boston and then ship it to Africa. So let me ask you this. So what does it cost to ship it to Boston? How much does that cost? 10,000?
I'm
throwing a lot of things at you.
It's a little tough. So roughly.
Give me a number. To go to Boston?
15,000.
Wait, you know what? This sounds scripted.
It's definitely. It's roughly 15,000.
No, I'm just joking because I told you about the 15% markup. So that's what I said about eating your. So it's 15,000. So you already have $15,000 exposure to go to Boston. What if it gets to Boston and it's wrong? You've eaten your profit right there.
As far as like the wrong item,
No. I mean, what if the product you order does not arrive as per the instructions? Whatever. Maybe it's the wrong color. Maybe it's 1 inch bigger. Maybe it's a shade green lighter. Maybe it doesn't have the 2 screws on the right. It's supposed to be on the left. I don't know what it is, and for all intents and purposes, it doesn't matter. All I'm saying is that people make mistakes. Companies make mistakes. Robots make mistakes. Manufacturers make mistakes. Mm-hmm. You're taking a risk. And again, I'm sure the government understands that. That's why they're not buying it directly, right? They're putting it in your hands so that you take the chance, and then you're going to be ultimately responsible for that. So again, coming from me, I would say, because you're going to be ultimately responsible, you want to make sure you're covered, just in case anything happens. So at the very least, make sure you cover your exposure. So that way, if you have to ship it again, let's say it arrived. I mean, you're thinking of the best case scenario. You're thinking everything's going to be perfect and it's going to go well and you're not going to have any issues, is what you're thinking. But what I'm saying is there's a chance. It's not a big one, but there's a chance that something could go wrong. And in the event that something goes wrong, you're covered. Wouldn't you be happier if you put 40% and something went wrong and you were covered, as opposed to putting 15% and something went wrong and you were not covered? Then what would you do? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now you're paying to do the government contract.
Mm-hmm. It's tough. It's tough because
it's not tough. It's not tough because do you have money to pay the government to do their job for them?
No.
Okay.
But I think it's just on the side of not putting the price too high and then having someone else put it low. And they win the contract.
But it's okay. But that's okay, because you know why? Speaking from experience, I know many companies that I'm okay with them winning a contract when they market it very low, because I don't want to run into the same problems and challenges that they have, that they're faced with. Because if they win it and they bid it low and they have a problem, wouldn't you rather be them than you? Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe you don't. Maybe you'd rather be the one with the problem. I would rather someone else have that contract where the things came wrong and they underbid it than myself. That's just me personally. I don't want that. I wouldn't want that for myself.
I think, it's a lot easier. Now the challenge is just figuring out.
But the good thing is that, listen, you're getting practice, you're learning. So I mean, you're gonna get improved with time. Think about it. Just a few months ago when we spoke, we were putting together another bid on another project, and so now you're a step further. So you just keep working it. And I mean, once you start having more opportunities, then the fear will diminish greatly. So just keep trying and keep working on it. Anything else?
That's all. Thanks for.
Yeah, no. So talk with your partner. You guys figure it out. But what would Eric do? I'd mark it up 40%. Mm-hmm. I would. That's what I would do. And that's what I'd mark up 40% just to cover myself in case something did happen. I was protected.
Hopefully we have another call soon about winning this contract. So
hey, I would love to. I would love to. All right. Hey, listen. Hey, thank you for sharing today. We really appreciate it. I know everyone out there who's going to watch this in the future, they're going to appreciate it as well. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Talk to you soon. Good luck. Hey guys, if you like that video, you like what you saw, click the subscribe button to my left to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, we've got a bunch of goodies for you below at scorecontracts.com/resources. Stay tuned for this next upcoming video.